and to know me. You know, I am so prideful and so private. It hurt me so bad to have to even protect myself in this type of way. But my marriage has landed me in a very dangerous position. My stepdaughter was just taken by CPS because of her father. CPS and the police have been here 3 times in less than 3 months, and I stood in it with my husband, even though I was scared for my own self. Whatever he wanted me to say, whatever it was, I'm thinking this is my husband. I had everybody around me saying, even after I tried to divorce him the first time, everybody around me says, you can't leave your husband this soon. You said through sickness, through health, through this, you said through good or bad. That's why I came back, but this is going way too far. But it's not even about me, it's about the kids. The stuff that I have to go through with the kids, I have to be witnesses to. I'm at the police at the house. They ask me questions. I don't know how do I lie for my husband. I've never been married before. I am in love with my husband. I don't want him to get in trouble.
This video is going viral and the internet is in full detective mode again. This time the spotlight is on Amy Luciani and the former NBA star Dwight Howard. The couple is now trending after serious drug abuse allegations surfaced, and the situation has gotten so intense that the police and child protective services are reportedly involved. Now here's where the timeline has people talking. Amy and Dwight had been married for about 14 months, but many reports claim they separated after 6 months into the marriage. That alone has social media asking what really happened behind the scenes, because things appeared picture perfect online, and the internet never forgets receipts. Commenters are digging up old clips warning that circulated long before the marriage. Many people said they tried to warn Amy, but controversies and allegations that had previously surrounded Dwight. One person whose name keeps coming up is his ex, Royce Reed. Years ago, Royce spoke out about her experiences with Dwight, and at that time, many people accused her of lying or exaggerating. Now the new allegations involving drugs and abuse are circulating. Many viewers are saying Royce had been telling the truth all along. In fact, she recently reacted online, and supporters say she feels like the truth is starting to finally come to light. But the internet isn't stopping there. People are now scrutinizing Amy's recent videos and appearances. Some viewers claim she's trying to distance herself from the situation, while others are questioning a clip where she appeared on camera handling a powdery substance, with critics alleging the way she handled it looked suspicious. Supporters, however, argue she was simply trying to show innocence and clear her name, while rumors spiral out of control. Right now, the internet is split. Some believe Amy was trying to separate herself from a messy situation. Others believe there may be more to the story that we're seeing online. What do you think about this situation involving Amy Luciano and Dwight Howard? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think people really tried to warn her, or do you think the internet is jumping to conclusions before all the facts are out? Like, comment, and subscribe.
So of course, I'll be his alibi, but this is going way too far. And now I'm getting mixed all in this. I've been with this man for 14 months. I cannot ruin my entire life for something that this person is doing. I just cannot do it. I tried to get so much help. I asked for counseling in our marriage. We went through 2 different counselors. When I say I love my husband, I don't want to leave my husband, but the positions he keeps putting me in, and it's all over nothing. I keep telling people he needs some help, y'all. I live with him. This is not him. This is not the white. This is trauma. This is everything he's been through, but just not the kids. I have to advocate for the kids, and I can't go down for what he's doing. So they took our daughter, and I'm just sitting there like, do I speak up? Do I be quiet? What do I do? But I caught this man. I caught this man forcing our 12-year-old son to cover for him, his son, to cover for him. He had him lying. I recorded it. He was coaching our son to lie on me, and I had to record it. And it's this shit. I try to tell everybody he needs some help, and ain't nobody would have fucking listened because he got the money. I kept saying, whatever, y'all don't understand. I live with him. He needs some help. And this is it. This is what I'm fucking losing my fucking marriage to. This shit right here. I told everybody, y'all gotta help him. He is spiraling. I'm in here with him. I'm trying to love him through it. I was gonna run out the door. I was gonna leave him. But everybody told me, don't leave him. He's struggling. I stayed, but not this year. We got the police involved. CPS, you lying on me. You making up alibis. You got our son, my stepson, lying. And thank God I recorded it. And he innocent in this, but you said just to protect yourself, you would take anybody out, including me, and I can't let you do it no more. I don't want to share the dirty secrets. I don't want to go out like how everybody else did this, man. But I gotta protect myself now. I'm uncomfortable. Now, I don't know I don't know. I'm uncomfortable. This man has the money. This man controls it all. And it's not about no money. I've been with this man for 14, 15 months. I never asked him for $1, nothing. I'm not on the credit cards. I just love him for him. But this shit is going too fucking far. And I'm so embarrassed that I gotta even I'm just like, I don't know what to do. When I heard my stepson being coached to lie on me, I gotta protect myself now, and I know it was supposed to be through sickness and health, but this shit is scary. This is why I'm losing my fucking marriage. Because the money, y'all didn't want to help him.
What are you doing in Layla's room? Framing her? He's literally in her room, framing her. Is it time? And I'm gonna record it all.
Until you do right by me. It's always been about the kids, bitch. It's always been about the kids. Now you want to speak? I'm still blocked up, so I can't see what the fuck you're saying. But now you want to speak because he brought you into it? Girl! It's everybody else's fault? Wow! So you just don't think any of us fell for the antics either, right? None of us fell for the narcissism. Are you fucking crazy, Amy? Amber? What is it? Like, are you serious right now? You call me crazy, right? You said I was jealous. You said I wanted him. When it's always been about the damn kids. And now you want to sit here and cry and sit here and be like, it's because of what everybody else did to him. No! It's because of what he does to people. Shit! I was just fucking first. I was collateral damage. Let's call Royce crazy. And people will believe it because I'm baby Jesus. Girl, shut up. Hey y'all, it's Royce. And due to a lot of recent occurrences that include lies, fabrications, false accusations, threats, etc., I realized that it's about that time for me to tell my story from the beginning to now. Unfortunately, someone keeps calling my bluff. And when you're an ant fighting an elephant, the only way to eat an elephant is bite by bite. Therefore, I want to let you know that I am a true Cancer zodiac. I told you to leave me alone. I told you not to fuck with me, yet you still do. So, Because of that, I am not Michelle Obama. When they take it low, I do not take it high. I take it to hell. And now, you're going to get what you asked for. I had a baby by Superman, and here's his fucking kryptonite. Hey, y'all. I'm Royce. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm going to get this out. So, this is my story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004 to now. All because I had a baby by Superman. Part 1. July 31st, 2004, I was at the movies at Downtown Disney with 2 of my friends. When 3 male figures walk in, one looking to be about an inch away from being a midget, the other very skinny and he had a bad acne problem, and another one who was extremely tall. As they come over to the concession stand, we are greeted with, "Y'all in my book." Our response was, "What book?" He goes, "My yearbook." I then respond, "No, sweetie, I'm grown." He goes, "No, my magic book. Y'all used to dance with the magic." Oh, yes. He's like, "I'm the rookie." Oh, hey. That's how that went, okay? And he was talking about, oh, y'all not dancing this year, that we left them with the Lion King. Like, it was a bunch of niceties and goofiness, and that was it. He still had braces. It was nothing. So we go to see The Notebook, and they go to see something that I used to think was Transformers, but it was something along those lines. I don't know. Maybe iRobot. I don't know. Anyway, about 10-20 minutes into our movie, I go to the bathroom because I am now in a full-blown argument with my then boyfriend, who is breaking up with me because he is swearing that I'm at the movies with a dude. Obviously, I am not, but he was very insecure, and it was just an ongoing thing with us. So we broke up that day, and I was devastated because, what? I got dumped. Anyway. Walk out the bathroom, and Superman is sitting there on the bench. And he goes, "No one should ever make you cry like that." Okay, thank you. And he's like, "Nah, you know what I'm saying? I'm young, but no man should ever make you feel like that." He had braces. So I'm like, again, thank you. And I go on about my business, and I go back to the movie. And I'm in the movie doing all of this, of course, on my little aim, my little sidekick. But by the end of the movie, I'm just kind of over it. So we're walking out the theater, and they're leaning on the car like they're in Boys in the Hood. So we're walking across the street, and his cousin comes up to me, which is the one with the acne problem. And he goes, "Hey, my cousin trying to holler at you." And I was like, "Well, why is your cousin not over here?" So he calls him over. And yes, we exchanged numbers. And yes, it probably was because, not even probably, it was because I was trying to make my now ex jealous. It is what it is. I was 24, whatever. So his first text to me was, "Hey, this is real name, the tall guy." So if you've ever seen me put TG on something or heard about that nickname, that's where that came from. So anyway, fast forward, 2 months go by, and I have not gone out with him. I haven't really said too much to him outside of AIM and, T-mail. So I was just being an asshole. Well, realizing that my relationship is now over for real, my dad is like, "Well, why not just go and hang out?" He's like, "You don't have to do anything." He's like, "But just hang out, have some male companionship." Not like that, but just someone to hang out with and have fun that enjoys doing goofy shit like me, right? So we decide that we're going to go to the movies at Festival Bay, which is now changed names probably 20 times. But we go to those movies, and I'll never forget this day because this is when I felt the shift. But it was a man and his son. And the son ran up to me and was like, "Oh my God, you're a magic dancer." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." That never happens, y'all. People don't know the magic dancers here. No, for real. People don't know the magic dancers at all. So
I was like taken aback, and he asked if he could take a picture. He pulls out a real camera and he takes a picture. After that day, there was a shift. I started getting invited to promos, to fashion shows, to theme parks, like, you know, team events. I was everywhere. And I had stated a few times that I was thinking about going back to dance, and he was against it. So I did a brand ambassador tour with Cherry Vanilla Dr. Pepper, came back, and I said, I've made up my mind. Like, I'm doing this. And was he being supportive of things that I was doing? Yes. He was at the fashion shows that I did with Gaucher. Yes, that Gaucher. Hey, girl. He was coming to my parties. I mean, he was around. So I'm not going to say like he wasn't doing anything. He was. But I wanted my career. I went back. The team took me back, knowing what our history was. I danced that year. The next year I said I wanted to go to Miami. I said I wanted to dance for the Heat. That was my dream team, either there or the Dallas Cowboys. And both of those he was completely against, and I had no idea why. He would offer like our suggestions for other teams, but never those two. Just completely against anything in Texas and Miami. Now you'll know why. I audition for the team. I make it. Yay me. And after a couple weeks, there's a couple girls that are just treating me weird, and I didn't know why. Well, I ended up finding out that he had cheated on me with one of my teammates who used to live in Texas, but now was coming to the Heat, and he had been trying to get both of us to not say anything. Anyway, broke up with him and was trying to live my best life, y'all. Really was, right? And I ended up getting in an argument with one of my best friends on the team that you all know as Super Black Girl, Tracy. Got in an argument with her, so I was suspended for 2 weeks. So I went to Mexico with my DJ friend, and we had time of our life, whatever. Came back, and my phone is blowing up, my little sidekick, and it's him. And I'm asking for advice from my DJ friend, and he's like, hey, just go and talk to him. Just see what he got to say. You know, just hear him out. Like, maybe he really is sorry. Okay. I go to the hotel, and at first he wasn't in there because he was at, like, team meetings. But then he comes in, and we're in there, and we're talking, and he's pleading his case and asking for forgiveness, talking about how much he loves me and that he'll never do it again, that I'm the one for him, I'm perfect this, perfect that. All these things, y'all. And I said I would think about it. I said, you know, I'll talk to you later. So I walked to the room, or I walked to the door, and he pulls me back with my arm, and he's like, well, can I at least have a hug? Sure. That hug turned into kissing and touching and our child being conceived. I did not know I was pregnant until about a little over a month later, when I was in practice, and one of the dancers who, funny story, ended up marrying the head coach of, that's not important, sorry. So after practice, I go to Walgreens and I buy a pregnancy test, and I take it home, take the test, call my brothers and girlfriend, wait for the results, and when I see them, I start bawling. I literally lost it. I saw my entire career just disappear, and I was devastated. I called my mom in the same state of mind. She's losing it. She's freaking out until I finally tell her, like, I'm pregnant. She goes, oh, I thought you killed somebody. That's how hard I was crying. She asked me if I had told him, and I said, I've been texting him. I've been texting his cousin. I've been texting his best friend, and nobody was responding. And I said, Mom, I cannot be a mother. And I said, please help me. Like, I cannot be a mom. I'm not ready to be a mother. And she was like, well, you're going to have to tell your dad. So for 2 days, I waited for a response. And when I finally got one, the response was, I was asleep. I responded, for 2 days, you just played a game in Milwaukee last night. And then he responded, I thought you were on birth control. Hey y'all, it's Royce. And this is my story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004 to now, all because I had a baby by Superman, part 2. We left off with, I thought you were on birth control. I'd like for it to be noted that I had not been on birth control our entire relationship. He was very aware, and also as to why he was not against it. Also, I'd like for it to be noted that there was no attempt to pull out that particular day, whereas in the past he would move so fast that he would run into the dresser drawers. So let's continue. About a week went on and there was a little bit of communication, and the communication was regarding terminating the pregnancy. I was told that he would help me. I just needed to get to Orlando and we would do it there. I said, okay, not a problem. Just know it has to be a quick turnaround because I have to get back to work and I can't let my parents know. Please understand, I had no idea how abortions worked at all. So I'm thinking that I could just get up and turn around. Anyway, communication ceased again. Now I'm having to talk to my parents. I talked to my mom again. She was adamant about me telling my dad. So I told my dad, and my dad was like, huh? And I'm like, huh, what? He goes, all right. And I said, well, I don't want you to worry because I'm not going to keep the baby. I'm going to terminate the pregnancy and then I'm going to finish the season out. I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to fulfill this contract that I got with Treasure Island. Like, I had all these plans and I was going to pursue my career. And he was like, no. He was like, you're going to have to put that on hold. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, you were woman enough to lay down. You're going to be woman enough to keep this baby. Now, back then, it wasn't a decision that was just easily made where you could just go to a clinic, okay? It was also extremely expensive, especially for someone who was dancing on basketball courts in booty shorts and a half top. So my mom did not give me the money, and I was now stuck. And I was asking friends. I was trying to just figure out anything I could do. It even got to the point where I was drinking magnesium citrate, or I was trying to use a hanger. It was bad. It was bad. But when I went to the doctor and I heard the heartbeat, that is when things were put into a bigger perspective for me. I don't know what it is, but when you hear that heartbeat, it changes you. And I knew then that I was going to be a mom. And so now it's time to tell Superman that he is having a baby. And as you can imagine, that message was not received well. And I was met with a bunch of, oh, you're tarnishing my image, you're ruining my career. I'm a Christian, what I look like having a baby, and I'm trying to put the cross on the NBA logo. How could you do this to me? You're a gold digger. Oh yeah, I was hit with everything, y'all. Like I didn't have a career. But because none of those changed my mind, he then hits me with, and I have a girlfriend. Okay. I've always had a girlfriend. Oh, wow. Okay. So now I'm realizing, y'all, that not only is this person a completely different person than I thought he was, but I've realized that he is a master manipulator and he will do any and everything to get exactly what he wants. I didn't fall for it. And because I didn't fall for it, I was then met with hell on earth. When I was about 4 or 5 months pregnant, I was asked to attend a meeting at a restaurant right around the corner from my townhome. I agreed to it, and when I got there, one of the first things said to me was, "You don't look pregnant." I said, "Thank you." They said, "No, because you have your belly ring in still." Mind you, I had already had this conversation before about wearing a belly ring while I was pregnant. I just liked it. But then they said that it just looks like you're poking your stomach out. Why am I here? Like, what the fuck y'all got going on? What do you want? Right? We sit down, and in this meeting is his manager, his cousin, himself. I am then offered money. I'm asking what the money is for. I'm thinking that maybe it's to help me with my pregnancy. No. I was asked to move away and say that this baby was not his. Twice. I declined. They got angry. I was then approached by the team office and they wanted me to come in and have a sit-down conversation and do a prenatal paternity test. My doctor said absolutely not. Therefore, I said no, it was dangerous. And once the baby came, I was not opposed to doing so. For the next couple months, I got ready for a baby shower. I got ready with my baby registry. And every time I did anything, I was met with false accusations. I was threatened. With the baby registry, I was told to take his name off of there. And I did. For the baby shower invitations, I was told to take the name off of there. So I did. But I still was getting threatened. I was still receiving anonymous messages on MySpace and Twitter. And I didn't know what to do. Around early November, I started having really bad complications with my pregnancy, and I was put on bed rest. I didn't listen, but I was put on bed rest. As hard as it was to sit still, it was something that I knew I needed to do because I could tell something was wrong. On November 16th, I had a doctor's appointment, and my doctor was like, you need to go to the hospital and they need to put you on a monitor. Stop letting them tell you that you're dehydrated. I said, okay, cool. We go to the hospital. They still don't put me on the monitor, and I'm just over it, and I go home. Around 3:33 that next morning, November 16th, I woke up to excruciating pain. I threw something down the stairs. My brother came up, who had been staying with me, told him I needed to go to the hospital. We go to the hospital. They finally put me on a monitor, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're having contractions for real. No shit. They say that they're going to admit me. I said, until how long? They said, until you have this baby. Oh, cool. Tell my mom everything. This is also during Classic Weekend. 54 and a half hours, I was in labor, and my child was delivered via C-section. They knew the day that I went into the hospital, they knew the complications I was having. They knew that the child's heart rate had been dropping, and not one person cared. Not one person responded to that at all. But when they found out that the baby was born, an immediate message came through to my mother asking for a picture. I said, send a picture. She sent the picture, and the response was, oh, that's my grandbaby. To me, all babies look alike when they're born, so whatever, but hey, go off. I was thinking that maybe that was going to be a start to something better, but it was actually the gateway to hell. For the next 3 days, I stayed in the hospital, and not one time did I receive a visit from him or anyone in his family, but his girlfriend actually did stop by unannounced and uninvited with a bag of bibs talking about we needed to speak. I said, no, we don't. Asked her to leave, and she left. It was cool. Well, a few days later, I was discharged from the hospital the day before Thanksgiving, actually. And on Thanksgiving, we go to my cousin's every single year, who stayed right around the corner from him. He kept saying that he was going to come by, that he was around the corner, that he was about to ring the doorbell. All these things, kept saying that he was coming by. Y'all, he never showed up. We then ended up taking a paternity test at a neutral location, even though the team had asked me to take it at their offices, and I said, hell no, because I don't trust them. We took it at a neutral location. The results came back on Christmas Eve. He acted like he was excited, wanted to see the baby the next day, Christmas. I said, cool. Christmas comes. He's like, who all over there? And he wanted to see him by himself. I said, absolutely not. I'm not telling my family to leave. They're my support system. So they stayed. He comes in. He's with his cousin. His cousin is taking all these pictures. I'm not taking pictures. His cousin's taking pictures. Next thing we know, a few days later, these pictures that his cousin has taken, one in particular where he's laying on the sofa and our child is on his shoulder, has now gone, like, I guess back then, viral. And everybody now knows that Superman has a baby. Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm back again to tell you about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004, and still now, all because I had a baby by Superman, part 3. We are now in January of 2008, and I am at my cousin's house, the same cousin that stays around the corner from him. He calls and he says that he wants to come and have a talk with me. I said, okay. He comes by. Superman is bearing gifts. There's a brand new car outside for me, a Lexus SUV, a brand new Sidekick phone, and he offers to buy me a house. After talking it over with my dad, my mom, it was absolutely not, because the house is not going to be in your name, and it's something that he can take from you at any moment if he gets mad. So I declined it. He then said, well, let me refurnish your townhouse. Okay. I was not asked about any type of furniture. They just showed up at my door one day and just started bringing stuff in. No lie. I had no say so. When it came down to me needing diapers and bottles and now formula, because I'm no longer able to breastfeed, my body wasn't producing enough milk. His mom did at one point come by with a bunch of diapers. I was very thankful. But that was it. There was nothing else. There was no help. There was nothing. At this point, I auditioned for a dancing gig at Holy Land. And I got the gig, so I began dancing in late January. So now I have a job. I'm working. On the days that I had to work, my child was with my parents. And on occasion, he would be with his father and the nanny and his girlfriend. Well, there were days where he would come home from seeing or spending time with his father, and he would be very colicky, throwing up, like sick. I mean, fevers, would have to take him to the doctor. It was a lot. That relationship he was in ended. I find out later on that the reason my child was returned super colicky, sick, throwing up, all these things, only to then be told it was because they were purposely giving him food that was opposite of what he was eating. I would pack a bag and I would have it listed of what he should be eating for lunch, for dinner, all these things. And he was intentionally given the opposite. So when he would be returned home, he was sick, colicky, throwing up, having to go to the hospital. When I confronted the situation, I was told that that was a lie and that it was only done because they thought I was trying to micromanage, and they decided that they were just going to give him whatever they wanted to give him. Okay. I let it go, y'all. Now, again, we've had the birthday party. We've had our Christmas. Things seem to be going okay, right? We've now gone to mediation, and in mediation we agreed to a child support number, and it was drastically, probably a third of what one of my attorneys was requesting. I said that I didn't want to seem like I was out for his money, so I was okay with the amount that was given. Totally fine. Moving forward, I start dating. Now all of a sudden it's, I think we should make this work. This is your first kid. This is, my first kid. Let's make this work. Now, this is where I could probably be stupid. Well, I was dumb. I saw family. And I am a very forgiving person. If you know anything about me, I forgive way too much. So we decided to work on a relationship. Crazy, right? But we did. Almost immediately, I regretted it. I was forced to do things sexually that I did not necessarily agree with. But because I wasn't that experienced, I thought it was normal. And I never complained about it. I just felt like this was me experiencing things that maybe he has experienced and I have not. That's when things started turning verbally and physically and also mentally abusive. I was told that I was stupid. I was told that nobody would ever want me. I was told that everybody here loved him and hated me. And how does it feel to have my hometown turn on me? I better not ever leave him. If I left him ever, he would make my life a living hell. And he did. There were days that I would be at his home and I was threatened with a knife, and then it was laughed off. But when the knife was in my face, it was, I could kill you right now and get away with it because I could claim self-defense and they would believe me and not you because who are you? That happened. He came to my house one day to pick up our child, and because I did not have a bag packed or orange Trident gum or soda in my refrigerator, he followed me into our child's closet and he grabbed me and he pushed me to the floor and said, in the future, I better have his bag waiting. I then left. I go out into the family room and I'm telling his best friend, the one that's an inch away from being a little person, and I'm like, get your friend, he's going crazy, what's wrong with him? Well, he comes in there and he, in front of his best friend as well as my goddaughter, my other goddaughter, he grabs my hair and he forces me to the floor and he's like, who the are you talking to? Our child, who is not even 2 yet, is thinking he's playing. So he's grabbing at his leg with his baby voice and he throws me into the entertainment center. When he threw me into the entertainment center, it broke the door. So I was flung into the one on the right, and our son, who was grabbing him and like thinking he was playing, he then flung him into the other door. I do not think that was intentional. I don't think he knew his own strength, but that's what he did, and it did break that door as well. Our son started crying. His best friend was like, man, what you doing? Like, you know, that's a female. And he's just not caring. That's when I realized, like, oh my God, I'm in a relationship that I swore I would never be in. Now, moving on, the day that I really wanted to leave was a day where I did not want to have relations with him. And he then forced me to give him fellatio. I know you're wondering, how does someone force you into doing that? When you are dealing with someone that is that big and you are that small and you're terrified of them and they have gotten away with so much and doing so many things, and you're still the one made out to be crazy and bitter, you're probably willing to do just about anything just to get through it. And that's where I was. After that, another nanny came into the picture. I knew this nanny was not okay. When she would drop our child off, he would sit in the doorway and he was hitting himself. Or he would be in the bathtub and he would be playing with himself in a really weird way that just didn't seem right. Of course, he was little, so he couldn't really vocalize things. But yeah, I could tell something wasn't right. There was the day where I invited her inside and I sat her down and I said, I just need to talk to you. And I said, have you ever put your hands on my son? And she swore up and down no. And I said, well, why is he sitting in the doorway hitting himself or playing with himself in the bathtub? And she was like, oh my God, I don't know. Why would you even ask me something like that? I said, because I want to know. She swore up and down that she had never put her hands on my son in an inappropriate way or even as a disciplinarian. I said, okay. And I said, but if I find out that you have ever put your hands on my son, we're going to have a problem. She asked me if that was a threat. I said, no, it's not a threat. It's a promise. She then went back and told them that I threatened her. And I told them the same thing, that I didn't threaten her, that I made a promise. And that's when things started getting hidden from me about what was going on at that house with my child. But I found out anyway. This is also around the time that Basketball Wives was coming to fruition. Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm here to tell you a story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004 to even now, all because I had a baby by Superman, part 5. I think it's also important to note when people ask, well, why couldn't you all try and work this out? Y'all needed therapy. We were actually given a parenting coordinator, and I went to all the appointments. He went to one. He stopped showing up. So she ended up writing a letter stating that she could not do her job because of his failure to participate. So we are now at the end of 2009, and unbeknownst to me, this agreement I've signed has just basically destroyed my life. Well, not only am I fighting him in civil court, but I'm also fighting him in family court. They are filing all these motions claiming that I am denying visitation when half the time they asked for it, he wasn't even in town. But what does that mean? More attorney fees, more court costs. Because every time a motion was filed, we had to answer. During this time, I am also dealing with one of his minions that is going on the internet and threatening to fight me at my son's birthday party. She was saying that someone was going to end up at the 33rd Street jail, that they needed to have her bail money because there was going to be trouble. I am expressing my concern regarding this person, and finally it was agreed that she would not come. So now here we are in the first quarter of 2010, and I'm filming the show. I am living my best life. I am outside. I am dancing at pool parties. And here comes another lawsuit. What does that mean? Another set of retainer fees. There goes my first check. So the second quarter of 2010, I am getting drained with attorney fees. I'm fighting him in family court as well as civil court. And I'm also doing promo for the show. I am now asked to go on the Wendy Williams show. Not as a guest, but as a how you doing girl. She asked me if my son's father was Superman. I said yes. I'm now sued. I am sued for $500 million. As I'm dealing with this latest lawsuit and people are laughing at me all over the internet and wishing hell on me, hoping that I go to jail, calling me every name in the book, I am also getting harassed by the same person who threatened to fight me at my son's birthday party. She is sending me messages about, how does it feel to not be number one anymore? How does it feel to know you're not the only one? Don't you feel stupid? And what was she talking about? We have welcomed baby number 2, a little girl born in June of 2010. In September of 2010, there was another lawsuit. What does that mean? More money, in which at this point I did not have. He won. There was a writ of garnishment that was made out for November of 2010. And they went and looked for every single account that I had. And they took everything from me. Not only did they do that, they found the account that I had with my mother since I was a little girl. The very first account I ever had, and she was attached to it. It wasn't even an account that I used anymore. But because they didn't get anything out of that account from me, they took everything from her. They took my mom's entire savings. In the early part of 2011, I released my book, College Girls. I was hosting parties. I had a boyfriend, the one that bought me the dog. I was doing the weekly blog for the show. I was in Detroit doing the play Cheaters. I was hustling, y'all. Come June of 2011, wouldn't you know, by the grace of God, out pops Superman and Sister C. This one is a Christian. She is modest. She is a beautiful girl, all natural. And I mean, very Little House on the Prairie. Perfect for his image. He is getting baptized. He is giving himself to God. He is in love. Visitations seem as if they are becoming more consistent. So I'm grateful. August comes, and because visitation has become a little bit more consistent, my son is now waiting for him on the curb. Yes, just like the little picture of the kid sitting on the curb with a lunchbox waiting for their parent that never comes. That was my child, the one and only time I allowed him to do that. But nobody called to say that they weren't coming. And because I turned into the FBI, I find bitches instantly. I went on Twitter because I wanted to know where he was. And this was around the time where people were putting all their business out there. So I saw a picture, and he was in New Jersey. He was on a basketball court with his pastor, Zachary Timms. Oh, I had to go back through my calendar, and I was making sure that this was a day that he was supposed to have our son. And it was, and I reached out to my attorney. I sent the picture to my attorney, and I'm like, what is going on? There was no response. So the next day, I get back on the internet because I want to see if there's at least a timeline of a return, because my plans have now changed, but it's always been that way. Well, all of a sudden, the Twitter page went from 10,000 plus tweets to 10, 20? What happened? Did he find out that I saw that he was in New Jersey and didn't get our son for visitation? No. I then see a headline that says, Pastor Zachary Timms is no longer with us. Oh. For the rest of that year, I minded my business. Although I was still fighting in court and talking about this nanny and being told I was a liar, I kept my mouth shut. Well, now we're in January of 2012, and I am dating my football player, and I am happy. A picture comes out of him taking a nap with my son. Fully clothed, very innocent picture. The narrative that is given is that my boyfriend was being inappropriate with him. They took that narrative and they ran with it for weeks. They didn't care that it could destroy this person's character, his career, his reputation, nothing. It wasn't about the nanny who was actually being inappropriate. It was about a distraction. Why? Well, in February, that is when I was made aware that he was leaving Orlando. And then in March, here comes baby number 3. Baby number 3 is over a year old. Baby number 3 is a little girl. Baby number 3 was born the same year as baby number 2. We are now in April of 2012, and Superman is having back surgery in California, and I'm ecstatic that he is no longer here because I'm thinking he's going to leave me alone. He does not. I am hit with another lawsuit. In this lawsuit, I am almost immediately demanded to send my child to California for 6 weeks. I get 1 week of visitation. Yes, I was forced to send my child to California for 6 weeks to be with a person that he has not seen in 6 months, even when he was in Orlando. That visitation exchange was probably one of the worst situations I've ever had to endure. I watched my child hyperventilate. I watched my child scream. I watched my child reach for me to take him, and I had to let him go. I was given a visit halfway through, and I saw the same exact thing. And I was also there with one of my dancer friends that I dance with in Miami, who I also dance with sometimes when I take a heels class. They were there to console me because I could not, in my mind, save my child. After that visitation, I was hit in court with more motions, more visitation requests for days that he was not even in town. And there was one time where we actually did communicate and came up with a visitation schedule, and flights had already been made, but his attorneys wanted to go to court claiming that I was denying visitation. I went to court that day and I showed the judge that we already had the flight information. His attorneys sat there and were acting so oblivious, as if they had no idea. In 2013, I'm hit with more court filings and requests to produce as usual. But around April, I'm hearing rumors of another baby. Well, come June, that baby is born, a little boy. And I say on Twitter, congratulations, happy birthday. This baby was born in California, my little house on the prairie, Sister C, and he has now been traded to Houston. Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I am here to tell you a story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004, up until even now, all because I had a baby by Superman, part 6. We are now in the fall of 2013. I am getting my son prepared for kindergarten. I have actually gotten him tested, and he has been diagnosed with ADHD. For those of us with children who have ADHD and have taken medication for it, you know ADHD medication is not something that you can start and just stop cold turkey. So there were visitations that were happening and they were refusing to give him his medication. I was also against him traveling so much because he's literally in kindergarten, the first grade of grade school. So outside of my son having to travel on Friday nights to Sunday evenings just to get up for school the next day and go, I am now concerned because they are refusing to give him his medication. They lied and said that they had a doctor from Sarasota come and examine him. And when I spoke to that doctor in Sarasota, that doctor said that he absolutely did not examine my son. He only told them what the medications that he was taking were for. He also let them know that it was dangerous to stop the medication cold turkey. They did it anyway. And now we are moving into the summer of 2014. Our son has completed kindergarten and he is now going to visit his father for a few weeks in the summer. I find out that almost 3 days after our son arrived, he left. He had actually been gone for several weeks and I had no idea because nobody was communicating with me. When my son is finally returned home, I am actually at practice with my company, and my parents call and say that I need to get to their home immediately. I ask why, they won't tell me, they just express that it was extremely important. Of course, I leave, I get there, they tell me that my son has bruises all over his body. I go to hug him and him me, and he goes, ouchie. I then look, I raise his shirt, he has a bruise on his stomach, he now has a bruise on his leg, on his inner thigh. And when I ask him what happened, he tells me his daddy did it. This is just a couple of days before he is to start first grade. So of course I am texting, trying to figure out what happened and why, and I am being ignored. I am then told by my attorney that I need to take my child down to the Department of Children and Families. I do that and they do a forensic interview. They talk to me and they start asking me to contact Superman. I am doing so and I am trying to tell him what is going on and he is ignoring me until he finally responds and says that he doesn't have to tell me anything about why he disciplined or spanked our child. Because of that response, a case was opened. The case was almost immediately shut quietly. Because of my concern and because I said something publicly, the case was reopened. The case was then sent to Georgia because it happened in Georgia. It was sent to 3 different counties in Georgia until it got to the county that his uncle was the DA of, and the case was dropped. But I'm not saying that he had anything to do with it. As you can probably guess, at this point, visitation ceased. Communication did as well for the most part, except for the fact that they sent a picture around of me taking my son to Hooters for his birthday and made it seem as if I was a sick mother. In 2015, we barely communicated at all. There were no visitation requests. There was just a bunch of motions filed here and there. So of course, more money. As we get to the end of 2015, the communication doors are reopened. And Superman and I are communicating. It seems as if we are working on co-parenting. He asked if we can come to Houston in January of 2016, and I said yes. And when we get there, we're going to eat oysters, and as we're coming back, Superman is walking with a young lady that looks to be, I believe, Mexican with long hair, and she's holding the hand of this little boy with floppy hair. And he's trying to get out of her arms. He's just wild and crazy. As he's introducing her to me, he then introduces the little boy and says, "This is my son." What? He's 2. So now we have baby number 5, who was born the same year as baby number 4 in 2013. So this is the real reason why you haven't been bothering me. And I knew that to be a fact because she was actually going through court with him. And now we're trying to change a narrative. Well, I did befriend her and we became very close, and she actually came down and celebrated my son's birthday with him. And I took him, my son, and also their sister to Fun Spot that year. We were also making trips to Atlanta because at this point he had been traded again and he was now with Atlanta. Also, let it be noted that Sister C and he had broken up. Unfortunately, this meant that I now had to deal with a crazy ass pastor and his wife that were constantly telling us how bitter we were and that we were gold diggers and that it wasn't about the kids and that we were worthless women who wanted him. We are now in 2018 and our son is playing sports, but he's also a junior striker, which is a hip hop dancer. His father did come to the show that year. It was in June, and after the show, he, along with some of his people and my people, we went to dinner. After dinner, a few friends of mine and I were supposed to go to the Pulse nightclub. We did not go to the Pulse nightclub because all of us were outside having a conversation with a homeless man. That is the night that the Pulse nightclub shooting happened. This is also the day that he told me that he was dating the basketball player. When he told me her age, and I was taken aback, but to each his own, because who am I? Pot me kettle, right? A few months later, right around our son's birthday, a recording was released. And the recording was a man who was alleging to have had deeds with Superman and the pastor arguing on the phone. This is the same conversation where this person called Superman a 6'11" bottom. Well, now moving on to 2019, I realized that I like this girlfriend. She seems cool. She seems to keep him level-headed. He seems to be leaving me alone, and I'm all for it. Anytime we are having an argument or we seem like we can't communicate, it seems as if she's stepping in and she's really helping things out. So we good. Our son graduates from elementary school that year. He graduates with honors. She comes. There's a big family picture and we keep it pushing. So I thought she was cool. I liked her. We had a cordial relationship. Well, next thing you know, the pandemic hits and he is losing his mind. He is swearing that the world is going to end, and he has all of us in a group thread, and he's trying to get all of us to come to Georgia for quarantine. I said no. So did mama number 2. So did mama number 3. But mama number 4 and mama number 5 said yes. I then thought about it. I spoke to my boyfriend. He was still against it, so I stuck with no. Just a few days after that is when I'm on the internet and I see a bunch of prayer hands under mama number 5's picture. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I get a call from mama number 4, Sister C, and she tells me that mama number 5 has passed away. Of course, I pick up the phone and I start calling and she's not answering, but I could not believe it. My dog is gone. She was the one that I was closest to. She was the one that I communicated the most with. I was heartbroken. After that, I am getting hounded even more so with phone calls about coming to Georgia for quarantine. At this point, because my heartstrings have been pulled, and because I have been in and out of court for years, I am waving my surrender flag. So I went to Georgia for quarantine, and it was the worst mistake I ever made in my entire life. Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm here to tell you a story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004 until even now, all because I had a baby by Superman, part 7. I decided to write a lot of this next part down because I wanted to make sure that I could recount everything in these last parts. So, excuse me for not constantly or consistently looking at the camera. February 2020, there is a text thread of conversations going on about possible quarantine in Georgia. This is with all of the mothers. Mother number 2 and number 3 said no. I ended up saying no after I spoke to my boyfriend, who is a traveling psychologist in the Bahamas. Damn, I fumbled that. A few weeks went on and the pandemic got worse. I got nervous. I got anxious, and going to my parents' house with all my pets was not an option. I looked for tickets to the Bahamas, but by then travel was restricted. In March of 2020, I am on Instagram and I see prayer hands under Mama number 5's Instagram. I'm confused. I get a phone call from Mama number 4, and she tells me that Mama number 5 has had a seizure and she has passed away. I'm devastated. I also get a phone call from Superman, and he is distraught. He's crying. He is so upset. He can barely compose himself, and he is begging for us to come for quarantine. He says he has received all these revelations, and he wants to make sure that his family is taken care of, and he wants to go through therapy. I mean, he lays it on thick. And after speaking to my boyfriend, I agreed to go. After a 7-8 hour drive, I, along with our son and our mini zoo, arrived at the estate in Suwanee, Georgia. It was late, so after getting our things out of the car and taking them into the guest house, I was called for dinner. It was awkward. Everyone was acting normal, and I later learned the people in the home were a groundskeeper, a trainer, a self-proclaimed guru, the nanny, his 16-year-old goddaughter, myself, my child, Mama number 4, and baby number 4. After I was at that table, I couldn't take it anymore, and I asked, why now? What happened? And he states that it is because he has received all these revelations, that he feels as if the world ending is almost a sign for him to make good with all bad and just a lot of stuff. He really was also claiming that he wanted to be a better father, and he wanted to apologize to all of us because he was basically a hoe. I listened to it. I also asked the nanny about why she would not allow my son to speak to me, or they would take his phone and not return his phone. I had to take him to court for that. I'm really like, I'm confronting everybody, because I cannot stay in a house or be on a property where I feel uncomfortable and certain things haven't been addressed. That's just me. Later on that day is when I realized that he smoked like Snoop. I mean, day in, day out. Over the next couple of days, I was bit by a Malinois dog, and I also was made privy to a conversation regarding a former teammate of his and the passing of another. We were told that this particular teammate had no emotion when he was on the plane and did not show emotion until he exited the plane and left in a private car. Why that was important for us to know, I have no idea, but maybe it was because I used to praise and still praise how great of a father he is to his kids and husband he is to his wife. I actually ended up having a talk with my Bahamian boyfriend, who was a psychologist, about this conversation, and he told me to immediately leave. He said, Royce, you're about to be manipulated and brainwashed. I didn't believe him. I thought he was jealous. I stayed. Of course, we ended up breaking up. Well, now we're discussing Mama number 5's funeral and who's gonna go and who wants to go, and who ends up going is Mama number 4, myself, Superman, and the groundskeeper. Mind you, during all of this time, Superman is texting me about possibly becoming his matriarch, and all the apologies had come, and him telling me that he was a changed man, that he was no longer the basketball player, and that he saw everything that he ever wanted to be. If I need to repost those messages, I could do that. Well, now we're in Reno, and I see Mama number 3 rubbing his back one day at the Mama number 5's mama's house. The next day, we are at the funeral. I'm taking pictures because he has not seen this little boy in months, and I'm trying to give him memories. Later on that evening, we go back to the family house and we all get drunk and we're taking edibles. I ended up getting served that night. Let me just say it. I did, okay? While we're in Reno, we get a phone call that former basketball girlfriend is at the house and she's playing with our kids. We thought that was a little strange, but he said that she was crazy and that she was just trying to get him back. That same narrative. Of course, I didn't believe it, but go off. When we returned back from Reno, I'm basically being sold a Disney movie plot. Now, I just didn't know that it was gonna end up being Bambi. Well, I'm being asked to move in, be his matriarch, and telling me that he's gonna get our son a personal trainer. He's gonna get me another dance studio. He's saying that he knows Tyler Perry and can introduce me and get me in movies. And y'all, you have to remember that at this point, I am waving my surrender flag. I'm listening to all of these things, and because I have lost in court so many times, I am honestly willing to fall into submission so my son can fly to success. I don't regret doing that. I don't regret following what my heart felt to be true. During this time, we are also taking family trips to the grocery store, to the park, to the sex store. And one day he decides that he wants to have a meeting with myself and mama number 4. He proceeds to basically try to sell us a polyamorous relationship. This was suggested by his guru. Well, mama number 4 ended up leaving immediately. I think she stayed maybe 2 more days and she was gone. She packed up her shit and she left. Me, I laughed it off because did you really think that this was gonna work? I don't even go that way. I don't lick marbles. Oh, let me also say that baby number 5 and his grandmother are now in Georgia as well. He has now flown them into Georgia so he can spend time with his siblings. Just a little while after mama number 4 left, I went home because I wanted to celebrate Mother's Day with my mother. While I'm there, I'm getting text messages. I mean, love bombed, y'all. Again, I can post them again if I need to. But it's a bunch of I miss yous. It's I don't want to say it, but I love you. And then he pretended like he was texting a friend of his and was like, man, I can't believe how much I miss Royce. Okay. We still doing them little high school games, but that's what he was doing. And he was begging me to come back sooner than I planned. And what did I do? I left the next day. When I get back to Georgia, I am then seeing articles about how distraught he's been, how he's been crying himself to sleep, how the feeling of mama number 5 never coming back has really torn him up. And I'm confused because I had no idea that he was going through these feelings. I then befriended the groundskeeper because the groundskeeper knew mama number 5 very well. He proceeds to tell me that their relationship was actually pretty volatile, that they were in a court battle, that until recently there was no communication. He also let me know that when she was pregnant and when she had the child, she was forced to sleep on an air mattress and he would put her in a motel so people wouldn't know who she was or who the baby was. I was also made aware that he in fact did not pay for the funeral costs as he told mama number 5's family he would do. I started acting different, so he allowed me to invite a few friends over and we swam in the pool, we had seafood, we watched movies, and we played games. After that, I woke up in hell. Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm here to tell you a story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004, up until even now, all because I had a baby by Superman, part 8. We are still in May of 2020, and they are shooting something called Celebrity Peep Show at his house in which our son is involved. Well, after a couple days, I have a migraine and I decide to take a midday nap. When I wake up from that midday nap, I will go outside the guest house and it's beautiful outside. It's like a bluish orange, there's fireflies, but I see a bunch of cars and people everywhere. I'm wondering what the fuck is going on. We're supposed to be on quarantine. I see a familiar face and I can clearly tell that he is on something. And then I see Superman. I see Superman throwing up over the balcony. I go up to Superman and I'm asking him what the fuck is going on. And he looks at me crazy and he starts yelling at me. The familiar face then goes off on him and calls him a bitch. They start arguing. I'm asking where our son is. He's not responding. I go inside. When I go inside, not only do I see a table full of mushrooms and peanut butter, I also see powder and a woman peeing in a seat. I immediately get scared and I run upstairs. I am looking for my son. I'm yelling his name, he's hiding. I see my son hugging his knees in the corner of his room. I ask him if he is okay. He says that he's fine and that he's just scared. I asked him, scared of what? He said, why is Daddy acting like that? I said, well, what do you mean? He was like, I was just hungry. I then asked my baby if he had been downstairs. And at first he didn't want to tell me. I asked him several times and I said, it's okay, I promise you it's okay. And he tells me that he went downstairs, but he was just hungry. I then asked him if he ate anything off of that table. I asked him over and over again. He said no. I grabbed my child, I went downstairs and I went out the front door, back to the guest house, back to my room. The next day, I go outside to walk my dogs and I see an argument. This is an argument between his guru and a friend of his named Callie. I am hearing Callie threaten this guru about trying him in an inappropriate way and that he is going to shoot and kill him. He is going to come back and shoot up the entire house. I, of course, then go back upstairs and I text the groundskeeper and I ask what the hell is going on. Mind you, that particular night, the groundskeeper was minding his business as well as the nanny because they were off the clock. Well, I'm expressing to the groundskeeper what was being said, and as I'm stating this to him, we're looking outside and we start seeing police cars drive by. I pretty much freak out and I start running around the entire property picking up paraphernalia because who finna go to jail? Not me? Well, I'm being told that I'm doing too much. Then, Callie starts posting YouTube videos. Callie is recounting the entire evening. He is also stating that one of the moms was there with her kid. But Callie is talking about how he was tried inappropriately and all the different walks of life that were in the house that evening. Once the YouTube video is shown to Superman, he brushes it off like it's nothing. What ends up happening? Oh, Callie is now banned from YouTube and he's also in Facebook jail. Soon after that, I get into a blowout argument with Superman. I am discussing the situation with this party. I'm discussing how he is with homeschooling and our child. I'm discussing his recklessness and he just does not want to hear it. We are arguing, up and down. He's bringing stuff up from the past and the trainer is there to mediate. The trainer is trying to calm him down. It is not working. There is a moment that you see in a person's eyes when you know that you got them fucked up. I saw that moment and I knew that that night was the night that I needed to go home. Or I at least needed to get off that property. So what I did was we packed up all of our stuff in our zoo. I then went and got Braylon out of the main house. And I begged for that trainer to let me out. And at 3:30 in the morning, he let me out. So I head to the Airbnb and I get a message that I can no longer check in early. I then have to call the trainer back. And he states that because there's nowhere place safe really for me to just sit in a car for hours in that part of Georgia, with a child, a car full of stuff, and animals to come back. So I went back. But I was told to hide around the corner to where he could not see my car. He was now assuming that I was gone. I did just that. And once I was able to check into the Airbnb, I sent a text, and so did the trainer. And when Superman was gone, I escaped. I stayed in an Airbnb for a couple of weeks, and I actually spent time with Jennifer Williams and Royce Morgan. Love y'all. They actually kept my head together. I'm forever grateful. When I started heading home, I called my family, I called my friends, called my attorney, and I called mama number 2. I told her what I had just done, and she, of course, was like, girl, how crazy are you? You stupid. Like, how'd you fall for that? Don't ever do no dumb shit like that again. And she was absolutely right. When I got home, I received a phone call from grandma of baby number 5, and she was asking me when I was going back. I told her I was not. I expressed to her my concerns, and she said that she was supposed to be going for Father's Day. I said, I would tell you not to go. And she's like, oh, well, I think it'll be okay. Well, grandma takes baby number 5 to Georgia for Father's Day. She is later kicked out of the house with guard dogs on the floor. And she did not see her grandchild for months. That is how he took custody of baby number 5 from his grandmother, who helped raise him when his father hadn't been in his life pretty much ever. I later learned that the plan was for me to stay in Georgia for an extended period of time so he could claim residency over our son and later kick me out of the house. He had asked me what my bills were, and he was talking about ending child support, and whatever my bills were, he was going to subtract that from what he gave me. I almost fell for it. I didn't, but somebody else did. What happened next is not my story to tell, but it turned my world upside down. I struggled for 2.5 years with suicidal thoughts and a lot of self-blame. I'd also shut down my dance company and stated it was because I didn't enjoy teaching anymore, when in fact it was because I knew I needed to get my shit together. I then landed a job at an HBCU. I was proud of myself. It was a job that I enjoyed and that I really put my heart and soul into. I fought for that team every single day, and it kept my mind off of other things. In 2023, I attended the NAACP Awards. As I looked around, I saw all of these people that I looked up to and wanted so much to be like. I was amongst greatness. I realized at that moment that it was time to take my power back. I did the Heat Dancer reunion. I made amends with Tracy. We had a splash bash. We released lanterns for remembrance as well as emotional purges. I was doing well. In July, an accusation comes out about my child's father. In September, I do an interview with Carlos King. I then do another interview with Vlad TV. Followed by that was then an admission of what the accusation was. And like Mace said, I agreed with him when he said it's never consensual when it's a surprise. Well, 2024, I posted a reel and recounting 2023 and how excited I was, and I'm still not getting any child support, but I'm trying to make do. I'm using my savings because this can't continue to go on forever. My savings is now being drained, and I'm offered a Basketball Wives contract. After talking it over with my attorney, they think that it's a good idea for me to take it. Yes, the person who said I would never go back to that show, I was gonna go back. So Superman number 1 was correct when he said somebody needs money. Well, yeah, because your predecessor ain't shit. Hey y'all, this is Royce, and I'm here to tell you a story about how my life changed. Beginning July 31st, 2004 until even now, all because I had a baby by Superman. Part 9, the final chapter. As I stated before, I agreed to take the $113K because I figured I would be able to flip the money that I was receiving from the Basketball Wives contract. I had also received a contract for an artist development company in New York, and I just felt like I was good. I also still had my job at the HBCU. Well, shortly after, I am headed to the airport. I get there, I check in, I go through TSA. I have my cat with me. When I get to the gate, I go to the gate and I just want to make sure that everything is okay with me and my pet. He says, I just sold your ticket. I asked him why, and he said someone refunded it. I get on the phone, and that is how I found out that they had canceled my Basketball Wives contract. I'm not saying he had anything to do with it, but that's what happened. Later on in 2024, I was fired from my HBCU job. I was actually fired during the same week that my father had a heart attack. I was then blasted on the internet, called names, and harassed by some of my former athletes, and I remained quiet. I watched them belittle and degrade me and realized that no matter how much I fought for those athletes and what I brought to that program, the culture of this generation has changed. Over the past couple of months, Superman has been harassing our son. He's also been harassing the school. He's been calling our son names and dehumanizing me. I told our son to go to California and support him on a TV show, despite the fact that he did not want to go. I said, make it more about the opportunity than the visit. Enjoy your siblings. He still had no desire to go, and even after speaking to both sets of his grandparents, Superman again and Mama number 2, he said no. I still talked him into going. Over the past couple days, Superman has decided to harass our son again. I am listening to my child laughing and joking while playing PlayStation, only to then it turn into yelling and yes, cursing. I walk into the room and I realize that he is talking to Superman. Superman is dehumanizing me. Superman is calling me broke. Superman is basically expressing to my child that I am a deadbeat mother. He says, your mom needs to get a job. Well, just so you know, I did restart my company. I also sub at schools. I also teach gymnastics after school. And I do teach private lessons. I'm pretty much like a Jamaican. I have plenty jobs. Because one thing you won't do is break me. So as you sit here and you decide that you want to rewrite history, I think is one thing that is important to know. I am the one with the paperwork. I am the one with all the phones. I have told you to leave me the fuck alone. As we go into 2025, my prayer for you is not blessings. It's hell. Happy New Year. Oh, and Tiffany's story coming soon, 2025. That's Mama number 2. Bye.
Did y'all see that big ass bag of powder that lady pulled out? And then she dumped it in her hand and wiped her nose. I said, oh, she's getting high. She's getting high. You poured it in your hand, shook it up a little bit, and then wiped your nose. You ain't slick. But nah, for real, I feel for that lady. I'm not gonna lie, I feel for her because, and don't mind that dog. Okay, she's on punishment. She's in the crate. She ate my baby French fries. I don't play that shit any fucking way. I feel like everybody need to go give Royce, is that name Royce Reed? Everybody owe Royce Reed an apology. Cause Royce been trying to tell y'all, now one of them children that got took by the CPS. Royce been trying to tell y'all something, and I know she probably tried to tell Amy something. Amy was like, my man. Now, I do feel bad for Amy, because this is not no situation nobody want to be in, and she probably ain't never been in no shit like this, because let me tell you right now, I ain't never seen no bag of powder that big. That was a goddamn one of them big Ziploc bags full of powder, and it was full. And then she had that little thing. I done seen that little thing a time or two. I don't partake. I don't partake, but I also don't judge nobody. So, honey, if we having a good time and that's how you want to have your good time, go ahead and have a good time. Just keep that shit over yonder. But, oh yeah, that man likes to party. And I feel so bad for Amy, but girl, you gonna have to get the fuck. You gonna have to get the fuck up out of there, girl. Cause that shit probably gets wild and dangerous, as Reese done told us. So I just feel like y'all owe that woman an apology. Y'all owe both them women an apology. But Royce, hand hers out first.
I just saw the video that Amy posted on Dwight Howard, and what the fuck was in that bag? Like, is that what I think it is? Like, how much was in that? And what did she do with it when she poured it out in her hand?
Hey y'all, it's your girl Millie Chan, and child, I know Amy Luciani is on the phone with Mona Scott asking if she can come and do a cameo, right? Cause I just need to get out. Baby, Dwight Howard has Dwight Howard, and she out here, the CPS done been called. She done pulled out bags of powder, talking about that's ruining her marriage. Child, the police done been to the house 3 times. Let's just listen to her. Hold on.
To know me, you know I am so prideful and so private. It hurt me so bad to have to even protect myself in this type of way. But my marriage has landed me in a very dangerous position. My stepdaughter was just taken by CPS because of her father. CPS and the police have been here 3 times in less than 3 months, and I stood in it with my husband, even though I was scared for my own self. Whatever he wanted me to say, whatever it was, I'm thinking this is my husband. I had everybody around me saying, even after I tried to divorce him the first time, everybody around me says, you can't leave your husband this soon. You said through sickness, through health, through death, you said through good or bad. That's why I came back, but this is going way too far.
Now, I think Amy was going to divorce him 6 months into their marriage. We talked about it. But then they were back together, right? For me, it's the people around me were telling me you can't leave him. Girl, these people do not know what's going on in my house and what I'm dealing with. Because I hear y'all using stuff. I don't know, allegedly. Let me keep going. Look, I get it. I understand the vows and nothing is wrong with the vows. But when you know that something is dangerous and you know it's wrong, nothing is wrong with you leaving. And these people don't live in your house. They don't know what you're going through.
But it's not even about me. It's about the kids. The stuff that I have to go through with the kids. I have to be witnesses too. I mean, the police at the house, they asking me questions. I don't know how do I lie for my husband. I've never been married before. I'm in love with my husband. I don't want him to get in trouble. So, of course, I'll be his alibi. But this is going way too far. And now I'm getting mixed all in this. I've been with this man for 14 months. I cannot ruin my entire life for something that this person is doing.
14 months? And you lying and being an alibi? Lying for the kids, witnessing things that's going on with the kids? Royce tried to tell y'all. She tried to tell y'all. Right? But you love this man because everybody was like, you probably shouldn't marry him. But the thing is this, you had so much information before you married him. You understand what I'm saying? That's just like if somebody would marry Martell Holt and you know his track record, but then you get in there and then he treats you like nothing and he cheats on you. You already knew what he was about. She knew what Dwight Howard was about. Let's keep going.
I cannot ruin my entire life for something that this person is doing. I just could not do it. And I tried to get so much help. I asked for counseling in our marriage. We went through 2 different counselors. When I say I love my husband, I don't want to leave my husband. But the positions he keeps putting me in, and it's all over nothing. I keep telling people he needs some help, y'all. I live with him. This is not him. This is not the white. This is trauma. This is everything he's been through, but just not the kids. I have to advocate for the kids. And I can't go down for what he's doing. So they took our daughter. And I'm just sitting there like, do I speak up? Do I be quiet? What do I do? But I caught this man. I caught this man forcing our 12-year-old son to cover for him. His son to cover for him. He had him lying. I recorded it. Ooh. He was coaching our son to lie on me, and I had to record it. And it's this shit.
She pulling out the bag of powder.
Everybody, he needs some help. And ain't nobody wanna fucking listen because he got the money. Like I said, whatever y'all don't understand, I live with him. He needs some help. And this is it. This is what I'm fucking losing my fucking marriage to. This shit right here. I told everybody, y'all gotta help him.
Cause she got a bag.
I'm in here with him. I'm trying to love him through it.
Child, she said Dwight said in order to protect himself, he'll take anybody out. Anybody. And she said she is glad she recorded her stepson lying on her, right? And she said she tried to love him through it. People like, he's struggling, love him through it. But she said she can't do it. You ain't known this man for 14 months. And this is showing up in 14 months? Girl, you are crazy. Shout out to Live Bites. Roy said, until you do right by me. Roy said, keep me blocked. She can't see nothing. She been trying to tell y'all all the time it was about the kids, but she was the first guinea pig and y'all didn't want to listen. Now you round here, the baby's lying on you, he lying on you. She said, girl, shut up. I feel Royce on this. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this, because this is a mess. Bye, y'all.
Yeah, Amy, it's time to pack up shop and go. It's time to pack up shop and go. So, y'all, if you have not heard, Amy done came to the internet exposing Dwight Howard again. Apparently, the CPS has been getting called to the house. Now, CPS done took their daughter, her stepdaughter. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. I'm gonna move out the way so y'all can read this little caption or whatever. And I actually feel really, really sorry for her, especially when she was like, y'all, I don't know if y'all remember, she came to the internet a while back, and 6 months in, she already wanted to file. And she said that she wanted to walk away because she realized this is crazy. She could have just gotten annulment. This is crazy. But then she listened to married people around her convincing her and basically manipulating her into staying. Oh, you said through sickness and in health. Oh, it's too early. He's sick. You need to help him. Absolutely not. She got into something that she had no idea what was going on. No. Nobody will willingly get into a marriage with a drug addict. And I think the saddest part is that their son, her stepson, he's coaching the stepson to lie. I'm like, girl, once you see that parent start coaching their children to lie, you could end up in jail, girl. He could get that son to lie on you too. It's time for you to pack up shop, divorce him, and go and live your life. Go and live your life. And at the end of the day, everybody owes Royce an apology. I knew when all the stuff came out about her son, I was like, Dwight Howard is sick. He's sick. His son is a manifestation of his sickness. This is crazy. I pray for her. I pray for everybody involved. I pray for the children. I pray for her. It's just too much. It's too much, and it's sad. And you can tell she actually loves his children because she kept saying, our children, our children. She loves the children. So this is actually she's actually defending the daughter because allegedly she's saying Dwight Howard trying to set the daughter up, going into her room and stuff. He said, what you trying to do, set her up? Amy, cut your losses and just leave. Just leave. This is too much.
So guys, y'all know Amy from Love and Hip Hop, okay? She came to the internet to vent, cry, she hurt, all the above, and letting us know that her husband is on drugs and he's on drugs bad, okay? And he needs some type of help or whatever the case may be. But let me just say this, Miss Amy, because you'll never know, like I said, where these videos may go, okay? And this is from the heart.
You can love on him as much as you want and try to be there as much as you want, but you're gonna end up tearing yourself down and stressing yourself out, which is what's going on right now. He has to want the help. He has to want different and better for himself, because if not, he's gonna end up tearing you and himself down. So at this point, you just got to get back as a wife and love him from a distance, and hope that he get this bad spirit out of him, because rugs are a bad spirit. So at this point, you just need to go find yourself again. You need to go find your happiness and pray for your husband, okay? At this point, you can tell that you are burnt out and you are tired. And another thing I also saw you do, and I don't want you to get yourself in a world of trouble, you showed us the white stuff, some stuff that was in a bag, okay? I can't say it here on the internet. You need to go get rid of that. You need to go flush it down the toilet, because the internet is powerful, and sometimes the internet can be powerful in the wrong way. And you don't want the police to come knock at your door looking for what you showed in that video, okay? So you need to really get rid of that. But again, when somebody, it could be even a child that may be out there on rugs, all you can do is pray for them and hope that they go and get the help that they need to get. If not, you're going to tear yourself down trying to be there and help them and give them the help that they don't even want to receive right now at the moment, okay? And I'm wishing her the best. I know a lot of people like, she knew this. Sometimes she knew about this man. Sometimes people have to find out for themselves, okay? Just like you telling children, sometimes we got to let them bump their head as well. It is what it is. Wishing them the best. Hugs and love. Y'all be blessed to J-Lo.